Hello, and welcome back to Werewolf. The last time around, we did everything right, pretty much, but we still died, which is just the way it goes sometimes. Um, and yeah, this time we'll try not to die. Let me go to the detailed chart, because I didn't actually look at yet at where exactly the branch shafts are. And well, there's a lot of them. Okay. Wait, there's still more. There's so many more. Okay. Alright, for this we need 10, 13, and 11. We don't have 11, which I think was investigating Kionosuke. I'm assuming. What was this? Trust Takumi. Here we can not choose to not trust Takumi, which I believe will just get us killed. Um, do we just explore all the options that we know or heavily assume will get us killed anyway? I think we do. All right. We'll not trust him, and he'll kill us, probably. I was rotten to the core. I was the type who balked at trusting others. Loved ones made the right decisions in times of hardship. Help would come when you were in danger, genuinely meaning the sweet nothings you whispered for life. If I asked people how they could be so sure about any of those, I'd be treated as cold-hearted for the most part. But trusting others meant taking risks, and the responsibility of those risks would fall on me, not the person I put my trust in. Of course, there were some situations where I had to take risks. Situations where I didn't know if I'd succeed or not and got conflicting advice from others. I wanted to avoid situations like that, but if I had no choice, how would I choose whose opinion to go with? That was obvious, by viewing them with an objective level of trust. By ignoring subjective impressions and basing it on past data and the advice with a valid chance of success. Wasn't it crazier to trust others based on character or blood ties? Those who make choices based on how long they'd known someone or familial bonds could do what they pleased. I'd be damned if I fell for those scams. I wouldn't trust them if they couldn't take responsibility for those risks on their own. No, I couldn't trust them. For the first time in my life, I felt that working against me. Takumi was probably a human. There was almost no chance he was a wolf. But I could feel my distrustful nature scolding me for thinking I could trust him later once I investigated him with the snake. There was a non-zero chance his anger was all an act and he was just trying to intimidate me into confessing I was the snake. It was nearly zero, but not entirely. Swindlers and tricksters all took advantage of that risk to use others. If this were a malicious trap, the cost of this risk would be my death and defeat for the humans. I can't say. In the end, I just repeated that. My inability to trust him was probably based on abnormal levels of caution. That or my distrustful nature. Takumi released his grip on me and I lost balance and fell to the floor. I groaned in pain as I hit my backside, looked up and saw. I see. Takumi holding the hoe aloft. Find it. Die. He swung it down. Maybe it was fortunate that this death had taught me a lesson. Distrust was not a perfect defense strategy, especially when faced with great physical danger. I'd learned that at the cost of my life. Though maybe I could put that to good use next time. More importantly, perhaps it would be best to gain some proof ahead of time that I could trust him. Game over. Bad ending number 15. Guess it was just a dream. Of course. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, we'll move back to the chart. Once we can. Once the game allows us to. Alright. That was expected. Right. Here we go. Investigation. I will go for Kinosuke. I wrote down the name, left it near my pillow, and went to sleep. Is that... I don't remember what that means. Truth of the Doctor. Wait. Key... Wait, is that key 11 or key 2? I think it's key 11. Yonosuke is a human, yes. I'm not sure how much that helps. Is there any way I can put this information to good use? We'll see. I actually wonder if, like, in the chart, does this now continue normally with that information? Yes, it continues the exact same way. So, I can go back to this now. And because we have these, we can reveal that Takumi and Kinosuke are both humans. From the ones still alive, I could declare that Kinosuke Nosato was a human. With me, him, and Takumi, we would have 3 more confirmed humans, completing the fixed majority Yasunaga talked about. For that, I had to believe that Kaori was the crow, but that seemed reasonable to me. After a bit of hesitation, I made my decision. I had to hurry. The wolves must have been conflicted right now. They had to be considering whether they could start faking before I spoke up. I had to declare it. Yes. My voice sounded stupid. I raised my hand. Everyone looked at me. I was even more tense than I imagined. However, now that I'd spoken up, my hesitation was gone. I, Haruaki Fuzashi, am the snake. I made that as clear as possible. I investigated Kinosuke Nosato and Takumi Muro. They're both humans. Their reaction was strangely calm. There you go. It goes without saying, but I'm admitting that I'm human. Good for you, Takumi.
Same here. Why did you keep quiet about this until now?
Like Yasunaga said, completing the fixed majority requires 6 people. Normally I would have needed to use my guardian once more. But then Mom suddenly revealed herself to be all but certainly a human, prompting you to act ahead of schedule, right? Yes, I do apologize for staying silent until now. People have died as a result. However, when Mamiya's declaration was such an obvious trap, I could no longer announce my role. I then gave them a mostly accurate summary of my intentions, similar to the one I gave to Takumi.
So that's why you said those things on the first day?
Yes, I mistimed some things though, so I probably sounded a bit fishy. Anyway, that's all from me for now. You accept that, Kanzo? We still left the final call to Kanzo Makishima, and it was actually a good thing it was still like that. Though some people resisted him, he was well respected here. A split here could destroy the fixed majority.
You said something yesterday, didn't you? Something about having no special powers.
I knew he would go there. Like I just said, I couldn't reveal my identity until now.
Why?
What do you mean?
You ain't planning on dying.
I'm sure I told you that I couldn't die. That was because I still had to fulfill my role as a snake.
We hang liars. Feast is rules.
I didn't lie.
Yasun, why do liars get the news?
Humans search for the wolves under the assumption that humans don't lie, because that's something that wolves definitely do.
Exactly. It was wise to create a situation where exposed lies could lead to the discovery of the wolves, and lying humans are harmful to humans.
That's why I said I didn't have any special powers, rather than I didn't have a guardian. After all, I don't have any superpowers, do I? Yes, that's what I thought when I heard that. I figured your roundabout phrasing was implying something.
I can't believe that. He's an outsider. We don't know what he is, and he lied.
You said that Q and I are humans.
Wolves can do that too.
He wasn't wrong there. If I was a wolf and got comfortable in the human side like I was trying to do now, the humans would be as good as dead. After all, I could investigate the other wolf and just say they were human, adding them to the confirmed human count. If I did that, in a few days we'd get in a situation where all the suspicious people were gone while the feast was still going on. This was a waste of time, difficult to recover from. In a sense, the fate of the humans depended on whether they believed me or not. It was a huge gamble for them. But why? Why wasn't any wolf taking this chance?
So you're saying he's a wolf who's using Muro and I to survive? That's not impossible, but... I shall believe him. He may hide things, but I do not believe he means any harm.
She was overestimating me, but at this moment I appreciated it. Same here. My reason is that Fuzaishi analyzed the feast with reasoning similar to mine, and is so far doing the logical thing for the sake of the humans. I appreciated that. It made me want to buy him a drink once he was old enough. I trust him too, old man.
Why?
Because I believe he ain't planning on dying. You're afraid that he might pick the wrong targets and we'd end up with a feast that's not ending even when we got rid of all the wolves, right? If that happened, everyone would hang Fuzaishi, right? He's an outsider. He's not gonna die for Yasumizu's sake. That's why he wouldn't say a lie that would get him killed. It's also why he didn't come out when you said that all the snakes should be hanged. But the situation is different now. And now that he's out in the open, he's probably thinking he can even get the spider to protect him. Right, Fuzaishi? Is he being honest? Or was he only saying that to make Kanzo more tolerant? Whatever the case, his analysis was correct. No comment. That was why I couldn't respond honestly. I couldn't lie or gather more antagonism than I already had. To my surprise, Kanzo chuckled. It sounded like a mocking laugh though. Did this mean that he now accepted I was just a cowardly outsider? If that were the case, he probably wouldn't lend an ear to any of my proposals. After all, I wouldn't give my life for Yasumizu.
I'll ask one thing then. Which one of the 6 do we hang?
I didn't think about it yet. What about you, Kyo and Yasu? The two shook their heads. You got some?
We're hanging Uematsu.
Because she voted for Tai? Uematsu, got something to say?
If necessary, I am willing to be hanged. I have not lived in Yasumizu for long. I never thought I would be trusted. However, there is one thing I can say. I have the spider as the guardian.
That... I mean, that's essentially her death sentence saying that. If she actually does have the spider as the guardian. That, What? So that was her play. But Rikako, that was...
The spider! Who'd you protect the first night?
Right.
No one died then. It would help to know that. The first night, I protected you, Kanzo Makishima.
That made sense.
Sounds true to me. The old fart was pretty loud on the first day. The wolves saw that too.
And yesterday, I chose Yasunaga Oribe.
Me? But I didn't do much yesterday.
In all honesty, I sincerely believe that Yasunaga Oribe would make for a more valuable survivor than Makishima.
Shots fired.
I believe that we shouldn't mistreat those who claim to have guardians.
Well, Takumi was choosing his words carefully. We couldn't shoot down all of Kanzo's suggestions. If he became too emotional, he could destroy a fixed majority. However, I was more or less certain that Rikako was a human. I'd made a theory that she was using Meiko, and just now she'd named herself the spider rather than a snake. For me, all of those things made sense. So... what happened next was completely unexpected. I'm also a spider. We'd always thought that the old wolf guy and Meiko wouldn't take part in the feast. Boy, were we wrong. After all, their only contributions were their votes, and it was hard to tell what they based their votes on. They were just two swing votes who were otherwise harmless and best left ignored. It wasn't that simple, though. Unlike last time when we had exceptions like me, everyone here was participating in a feast the way they were supposed to. That was why everyone could have a guardian of some sort, even if they were too childish or senile to make good use of it. I'd been actually afraid that they would get and waste their guardians. I didn't expect him to come out as a second spider, however. Why him of all people? And why the spider?
Really?
Spider.
Uematsu.
I am the spider. The old man is lying.
You are the liar.
Old man, sorry about this, but I always assumed you to be senile and nothing else. You understand the current situation.
Huh? Hey, was he like this in the previous feasts?
Always been like this. Was useless in the feasts.
Moshi, you're friends with him, right? What do you think?
Sorry, but I don't really understand this. You okay, old man?
Yeah.
He's alright. How troublesome.
Old fart, who'd you protect first and last night? Huh? Listen, our lives are on the line here. If you're just messing around, I protect that. He ended the question by raising his finger and pointing at Yasunaga. Me? On which day? Huh?
On both?
Oh, he responded with a smile. That would mean that the wolves went for Yasu first.
I believe I can understand it.
Hey, why him?
Nothing.
Just because?
Yeah. That definitely wasn't a good standard for deciding who to protect from death.
What's this about anyway?
Wait, could it be? The badger. What's wrong, Fuzoshi? Remember when I told you that there might be a badger? Because there are badgers in prayer to Shinai and the shrine.
But it's so minor. Don't you think it's a bit of a stretch to assume that they would be humans who serve the wolves?
Well, in this situation it doesn't really matter whether the badger exists or not. All that we know is that either Rikako or the old wolf guy are lying. No arguments against that. Honestly, I thought they both were lying, but I more or less knew what Rikako was going for. She was probably ordering and controlling Mako, the real spider, effectively making her the one who protected people. That was why the info she gave about how she used the power was correct. In a way, she was the spider's representative. That is, if Mako actually does what she says, which is likely, but not guaranteed. The advantage of this method was that even if she died, the real spider would survive. Of course, Mako wouldn't have someone helping her make decisions if Rikako died, limiting the Guardian's effectiveness. But even so, if the spider the wolves thought was dead was actually alive, it could turn the tides in the endgame. The spider was best kept hidden at all costs, but Rikako revealed it so it would draw the votes toward her. She used it for her own plan. I didn't know how accurate my assumption was, but it did seem like an effective course of action. Though she probably didn't expect a sudden fake. It was day 3 and the fixed majority plan was becoming reality, yet no wolves came out as either snakes or crows. We all knew the dangers of the wolves taking the snake's role, while taking the crow would help them hide the amount of wolves still alive, giving them a path to victory. However, there was next to no point in pretending to be the spider. Even if you claimed to be the spider and said you would protect someone, then even if no one died, you could still be suspected of being a wolf fixing the game. However, there was an exception. It was effective in helping the wolves know who the badger was. It was probably true that Kanzo was the target the first day, but was stopped by Mako, who was ordered by Rikako. That was why the wolves who knew what they were aiming for that day had recognized Rikako as a real deal. They also understood that the old wolf guy was lying. That meant that, from the wolves' perspective, he was a human who just told a lie. It was too obvious. The wolves knew about the badger. The wolves and their ally needed to be proactive about lying. The old wolf guy defied that rule, letting the wolves know who he was, or what he was. With Hisako Mamiya's death, they had lost a vote, but with this they now had 3 again. Also, Kanzo was considering his opponent, Rikako, as the next candidate for the hanging. In this situation, we had to make good use of the 6 confirmed humans and hang the lying spider. The easiest choice was to trust Kanzo's decision and vote for Rikako. By gathering wolf, badger, and confirmed human votes, Rikako would be sent to the tree. It was a chance for the wolves to kill the spider and make them think that the humans killed a wolf. This was really effective for them and extremely dangerous for us. Even if the real spider, Mako, survived, it would be really difficult for me to talk about the badger and explain that Rikako was a fake spider on their side. Yeah, I had to convince the human side that they should vote to hang the wolf guy instead. Is that really right though? I had to think carefully. I only came to understand Rikako's intentions because she told me to vote for her in a peculiar situation. I was assuming that both she and the wolf guy had some ulterior motives, but was that really right? Was the old guy even capable of that? He played with a pretty useless guardian. Maybe he'd only come out because he found it strange that another spider had named themselves. In fact, that was the most natural reaction, especially in the other's eyes. Same went for Rikako. From what I saw of her, she was more legend and harmony than intelligence. What if she was actually thinking that by protecting Mako she would be considered a good guy and avoid gathering votes? What if her affection for me was all part of the plan too? Crap. This was obviously the more reasonable line of thinking. Also, Rikaku could have also been lying to let the wolves know something. Anyway, we had a relatively sane young woman going up against a completely senile man. Well, that's what he's pretending to be. No matter how you looked at it.
Uematsu, you're lying.
The choice was obvious.
No.
Why you say it now then? You once told us to hang you if we had to. This was after some votes went in.
Yes, I did say that.
And why are you saying you have a guardian now that you're about to be hanged?
She fell silent. I couldn't tell whether it was a silence to protect Mako or just an awkward silence because he pointed out a harsh truth.
It's obvious.
What about you people?
I am leaving my vote to Yasunaga. That will make it easier for you to believe me, won't it?
Yeah, that's fine. Q, you?
Rikako, are you really the spider? Yes, Nosato. That much is certain.
Both are lying if you ask me. Kamoshida, if you've got nothing better to say, then shut up.
Nah. Don't worry. I will protect you.
Isn't this weird?
It's not fair. Rikako went through a lot of bad-mouthing here in Yasumizu, but fought through it for our sake. Why did it flip upside down just because of the old guy's words? Why did he even say it?
Jim.
Someone might have told him to say that, and it might be that Rikako's going through some inner struggle. We don't know what's true. You can't just whip up an answer and simply kill someone like that. It's dangerous.
I know, but in the end, it's either you believe or you don't. Musashi, what do you think?
What was I to do? How was I to approach this?
This is interesting. I think if I were in this position, I would definitely vote for the old wolf guy. Probably not out of logical reasoning, though. Let me think about it logically. I still definitely believe the old man is more aware of what's going on than he's pretending to. I can definitely also see Visashi's point, though, how it would be very convenient for Rikako if she was a wolf and would be using Mako as a spider, especially in the end game. I mean, you gotta understand here that wolves have a huge advantage in being able to experiment a bit at the start and play around a bit and maybe waste a night. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing if... Wait, let me think. Is it a bad thing? is there much well, it's not a bad thing necessarily, but is there much purpose to it to actively have the spider protect the wolf's target as a wolf? Is there any point to that? I actually can't think of any. Like, it's not particularly harmful, but I also don't think it's useful in any way for the wolves. So I feel like the reasoning falls apart a bit there. Like, essentially, if Rikako is a werewolf, she would be in a very, very strong position with, control of the spider. But the move of the first night wouldn't really make any sense. Unless you're like specifically playing the super long game all the way here until I'm thinking about this. But I don't think Rikako is smart enough for that. So, I believe the old wolf guy theory with the badger is a lot more logical. This would be a gamble. I had to remove the unpredictability and simply play the odds. I would have to rely on common sense. Yeah, it's a gamble either way. Like, we don't know. He could be a wolf. Well, he could. I mean, I guess technically he could also be a wolf. It's just more likely he's a badger. Rikako could be a wolf. We don't know. But this is what I believe is the best course of action. Or by the first impressions I had. Or maybe I would just believe Rikako. I believe that the old wolf man is lying. Your proof is? It didn't have to be true as long as everyone was won over. No. The feast was a game where people hunted lies. I couldn't let my eloquence alone do the talking. I needed truth. Did I have to talk about Mako then? No, that would make me simply unforgivable. Then, it actually doesn't matter which one we hang. I would play the role presented to me. That was the only way for me to gain their trust. What do you mean? If I die tonight, it would be proof that I was the snake and that Takumi and Nosato are humans. We're hanging someone today, so that'll leave 10 people, 5 of which would be confirmed humans. However, Kaori was just a self-proclaimed one. Even so, the remaining 5 wouldn't be able to get enough votes on her. Right, Yoshitsugu? Yeah, I'm not voting for Mom. Then the 5 confirmed humans would win the votes. They would have the fixed majority. Well, we still need insurance that Yoshitsugu won't betray us, but in the end that too is just about whether you trust him or not. I ain't betraying anybody. I will leave the decision to the rest of you. On the other hand, if I didn't die, those of you who couldn't trust me would be worried. But if I survive, I would use my guardian to look into the most shady person among the 5 unknowns. If it's a wolf, we hang them, and if it's a human, we add them to the confirmed list and hang one of the 4 unknowns. Even if I die then, there would be 5 confirmed humans and 3 unknowns, and Kaori could tell you how many wolves there were left. Even if worse comes to worst and all 3 end up hanging, the humans will still win. Someone from Yasumizu would survive. Then no matter when I died, it would only increase the number of confirmed humans with no drawbacks. Human victory would be certain. But what if I keep surviving? I understand why you would be curious about that. That's why I promised to exterminate the wolves by the day after tomorrow at worst. That was an impactful line. I could see and hear them gasp. It felt good, but I didn't show it. If I fail, you can hang me right then. Even if I was a wolf, you would still have time to find the last one. So as things are, the humans have the advantage no matter what, so it doesn't matter which one of them you hang. However, I don't believe we should leave the old man. Personally, I can't even tell if he's sane, senile, or just malicious. Haruaki. Also, it's likely that Rikako would soon be taken out by the wolves. The true spider is a real threat after all.
Indeed, I am prepared.
Let us continue with that, and if it doesn't work, you can hang both of us. That should give you peace of mind. But if you leave the old man, who doesn't take responsibility for his words and actions, there will always be an element of uncertainty. That's why I believe he should be hanged. That will make the path to victory clearer. Another thing. I think she is the real deal, and I have a minor detail that makes me inclined to believe her. It's not very substantial though, so I'm keeping it to myself for now. But just as Takumi said, I don't plan to die yet. I'm expecting Rikako to put her life on the line to protect me, so this is my decision. I truly am this cowardly, but since I am the snake, I will go through with this strategy. The fact that I'm putting my future life on the line is proof of the only sincerity I, a person with no one who trusts or supports me, can give. Please believe me. That is all. Yasu, Kyo, what do you think? Takumi instantly asked that. I will believe him. I thought he was the snake right from the start, though he turned out to be a lot more heartless than I expected. Yes, I will believe him as well. Above all else, I want to prevent Rikako's hanging. Kaori?
Yes, I am entrusting my vote to Yasunaga.
Old man? This was the moment of truth. You...
Not believing him.
I thought as much.
There's gotta be holes all over his reasoning. We got no way to make him take responsibility if we're caught him. I'll believe myself instead and kill Uematsu, who voted for Tai.
The fixed majority will fail then. Old man. But Takumi did something unexpected. Please give me your vote. Oops, I accidentally hit control. He lowered his hands and forehead on the floor.
Takumi.
Like I said, I believe the guy, but I don't trust his humanity. He ain't a good guy and would probably give us loads of trouble if he was our enemy. But being a bad guy doesn't mean you become a wolf. Those things aren't related. Listening to his words made me realize that he was serious. That's why I'll believe him. I know it's a bit complicated for you. But that's why I want you to trust me, as someone you've known for 30 years. If you do, I'll promise to kill both Fuzashi and Uematsu the moment we find out they're liars. I don't even care that the corruption will come for me. That's my promise. He did the same as me, bet his life on his words. Please. He even gave his honor.
Takumi, you dumbass.
Old man.
You gotta clean up when the feast's over. I ain't got nothing left. I'll take the corruption with me all the way to Yomi. Hey, Fuzashi.
Yes?
You better prepare yourself. I still think you're guilty of Tai's death. If you can't make up for that as the snake, I'll skin you alive.
I gulped. I was being glared at by an old hunter who was no stranger to death.
You too, Uematsu.
I am prepared.
Tally the votes. Your turn, old fart.
Without an expression or a word, he pointed at me.
Old guy.
1 vote. Old wolf guy. 2 votes.
The old fellow.
3 votes.
Yasumi's elder.
4 votes. 1 for the wolf man. 5 votes.
Old guy.
Yoshi, are you voting for him too?
Yeah.
Then it's settled. I'll do the same then, sorry. Kamoshida.
1 for the wolf guy.
1 for Haruaki.
Cheer, that seems...
I mean, I just don't get it. I don't want Rikako to die either, but it's possible that the old man said that just because he's senile. Why is no one pointing that out? Why isn't Haruaki saying that?
I said it doesn't matter, didn't I?
You can't predict Mako's votes either, can you? Ah.
If they're both suspicious, I would prefer the old man to become the sacrifice instead of the little girl. It's the reasonable approach.
That's enough, Rikako. For the old fellow.
The old man. For the old man.
Bring the rope.
I need time.
Shut it!
Hanzo suddenly punched the guy.
I'll hang him myself. Rest of you go back.
He quickly tied up the wolf guy and pulled him off into the mist. His voice was strangely subdued, but I could feel intense emotion behind it. None of us knew what made him like that, so we all just sat paralyzed. Old man, what's gotten into you? The one to move first was Takumi. Akishima,
What's up with him?
by the time I went outside, Takumi was already disappearing into the mist. Takumi! Musashi, you stay there. Yoshi, hold him back.
Alright.
Why? I don't know, but you're the most important human right now. You gotta stay safe, just in case. Just in case. Oh, yeah. The last time when a wolf guy was going to be lynched, it led to some unexplained murders. Takumi, don't go! I shouted that. You're necessary for us to win the feast. There was no response. Even his footsteps were vanishing into the mist. What do you believe will happen? I felt my heart jump. I turned around and saw nothing besides Yoshitsugu, who was wearing a suspicious scowl.
What? Let's just go. Leave the old fart to Takumi.
But
think about how it'll look for you to disappear on your own.
He had a point. They only trusted me because Takumi was vouching for me. Alright, let's just go back to the dining hall. Wait, what did the log say? What do I believe will happen? What do I believe will happen? There's three possible scenarios that I believe are, not extremely unlikely. Scenario 1, everyone dies. All 3 of them. Scenario 2, they hang the old wolf guy, they all come back. Which I think is unlikely, but might happen. Scenario 3, just one of them comes back. Who that one is, I don't know. Takumi might find both of them dead. I think it's unlikely that only Kanzo comes back. I think it's possible, but also unlikely that only the old wolf guy comes back. I think, personal opinion, 2 people will die. At least. 3 is possible. I think 2 is the most likely. The only problem I have with that is that I believe... Actually, I don't even think it's that unlikely for only Kanzo to come back. Because from a game perspective, from a writing perspective, if only Takumi comes back, we've lost an unknown and a badger. Or, whatever, a wolf. I don't know. Who cares? And we have an insane majority on the human side. Which seems like it would make the game too simple? Too straightforward? So it just seems unlikely that that would be the case. I mean, I guess we'll see, but those were my general thoughts. Now, my worries were for nothing, and in about half an hour we were joined by both Takumi and Kanzo. Interesting. What I also considered earlier when Kanzo went with the old wolf guy alone was that he would protect him somehow. Where Kanzo is a werewolf, and he would just hide the old wolf guy somewhere, and then come back and be like, I hanged him. I could have seen that. Their expressions were grim, but implied nothing specific. I mean, this is still technically possible, unless Takumi says he saw him hang the old wolf guy. Where's the old man? Hanged. He sat down on the seat closest to the entrance. Takumi. I didn't see it. You know old man Kanzo. He ain't lied. Well, he didn't see it. I'm worried. With that, today's feast had ended. Everyone sighed quietly in relief. But actually, would the corruption take you if you went against the feast's will and didn't hang the person who was voted to be hanged? I don't think it was ever explicitly talked about or theorized, but I feel like that could also be a thing that happens. There must have been some of the wolves' depression in that. After all, from my perspective, we were just one step away from victory. However, this step would be the one that was very hard to take. How easy it would be if I died and it all ended then. However, it would once again be pointless. Until I solved why death hadn't come for me, I remained afraid of this unexplained phenomenon. Until I solved the mystery and escaped this loop, I would see many tragedies, fight against fear, and keep seeing many bad endings. A part of me hoped that winning the feast would end it, but if it didn't, I would have no clue where the core of this mystery was. Was this mystery even solvable? Could I cling to my own sanity until then? I remained uneasy. Well, after a bit of rest, we had tons of things to do, but we will have tons of things to do in the next episode. I think this is a good point to leave this one off. The last one was a bit longer, this one will be a bit shorter, that's fine. So yeah, very interesting episode once again. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Till then, bye bye.